Here we go, sir. All right, all right. Everything should be good. Let me know when you want to start like introductions.
Whenever you do, bro.
All right. What's up, everybody out there on this fine Wednesday evening? This is ZDB the Comic coming at you with the new sort of cool thing that I'd like to do, which is talk a lot. So I figured I might as well take some time out of my day and talk a lot with a good friend of mine, Shadicstick, YouTuber, black man.
Black man.
Content creator extraordinary.
Thanks, Zach. What's good, everybody on Z2B the Comics channel? This is your man, Shadicstick, dropping some hot fraga on this mic. Boom, there we go.
We got the intros
Thank y'all for coming out, and thank you for having me on, Zach. I really appreciate it. I really thought your idea was great, so, I was just like, I gotta be in on that, man. I gotta your casting call to have someone on. I was just like,
I put casting call out on Twitter. About 6 different people liked the tweet, didn't hit me up. Shattuck decided to manifest. And manifest he did, because we're here right now. But
go ahead.
You know what it is. We're here. Honestly, I couldn't have asked for someone better, because I think our repertoire, the two of us, is real good. We've got good chemistry.
Yes, we do, my dude. But you want to go off on what the topics are tonight, or
yes, the topics tonight. Ahem. All right, so tonight we are going to be talking about throw it up on stream. Boom. Slide this down. Spaghetti-o. I'm fucking up already. Here we go. The first, what truly makes games underrated, right? Second, 2021 so far. What's going on in our lives? What's going on in the world? And when would be a good time for you to cut off people who aren't seeing your vision content-wise?
That's some good topics, bro. Do you just want to jump into it?
These are some quick off-the-domes I made earlier in the day. So we're going to start off with topic number 1. Ahem. Right? What makes games truly underrated and overrated? Now, you see, thought of this topic. I was sitting on the toilet at 5 in the morning. sitting here trying to figure out what to do. You know, I'm like, I said I wanted to do this stream. I have some ideas. Not many, but I have some. And this is one of those that are like, you think about it, but like you never really like get back to it. Today I decided we should get back to it. Posture check. Fuck you. Set up the camera off. What was I saying? I saw on Twitter the past couple of weeks, you know, the same thing you always see on Twitter every past couple of weeks, which is people arguing about what game is good, what game is bad, you know, why some games don't seem to get the recognition they deserve.
Before you go off, I want to say this. Mm-hmm. Twitter is it's simultaneously the best and worst place to discuss video games because you can find out some cool stuff. People will talk about, let me get the mic up closer. People will talk about, like, things they like in games. You'll find people with similar tastes to you. But, like, at the same time, bro, it's like the most toxic place to talk about video games because, like, it's either your people in your camp will rally with you or people against you will rally against you.
How dare you?
How dare you? Which, I mean, it's fun. It's fun. Don't get me wrong. It is fun, but like
it's fun. And
man.
then they decide to take it to the 30 extra levels.
Yeah.
You know, you go from I don't really agree with your opinion to if you don't think the way I do, you should do a backflip off a bridge.
It's the wildest.
It's very hard to find an in between. Because it seems like everyone is just so willing to die on their hill that they can't even fathom the possibility that maybe someone else thinks a different way, which is a little crazy. It's a little crazy.
Hey, it happens though. It happens. But what makes a game underrated or overrated, man? That's kind of hard because like I feel like everybody knows what an underrated game is. Everybody knows what an overrated game is, but like that can be different from person to person. But usually it's the same feeling. I'm gonna go off on what I think an underrated game is.
All right. Yeah,
so
I will rebuttal to that.
So I think an underrated game is just any game that really it's either it's been overly criticized. So like people I think this is about to be the greatest example in recent history because the Sonic community that's the biggest community I'm a part or the community I'm the biggest part of. The game Sonic Unleashed, it's been one of the most contentious games, period, in the entire in the history of the community, and that's because originally it was a really underrated game. A lot of people I feel like they overly criticized the game because they people scrutinized it for things that weren't necessarily its fault or not even necessarily the game's fault, but just were non-existent issues. People criticize the Werehog, which they can fairly do. I have my issues with the Werehog also, but they were saying it was called bad just because it was not Sonic. You know what I mean? The reason people hated it was because it wasn't Sonic, not because of the myriad of other issues with the Werehog. The platforming sections or the 20-30 minute long stages. Not that. It's not Sonic, so I hate it. Or not really appreciating the daytime stages because they'd go out of their way to make a point of talking about by the way, what's good, RRG, welcome to the stream.
Thank you very much for the follow as well. How you doing?
They'll talk about the daytimes. They'll say, oh yeah, the daytime stages are there, but they'll never act like they weren't good, even though it's agreed upon that's probably the best part of the game, and it's a really good. I wouldn't say it's the majority of the game, but I'd say it's a good chunk of the game, and I feel like people aren't recognizing it enough. But then on the other hand, the game has become overrated recently because people are saying it's the pinnacle of Sonic storytelling. It's the pinnacle of the Sonic series. It's the best game in the series, and it's the most effort Sega's ever, or Sonic team has ever put in a game, which I believe to be completely false. And I'll go into that.
Those are some really bold statements.
Yeah,
I'm not in the Sonic community, but I see you interacting with a lot of the people there. So I'm just spectating from a distance. Like, I thought everyone hated this game 6 months ago. I thought this was treated like the biggest garbage fire they had ever gotten, aside from Sonic the Hedgehog, which is a game that rightfully deserves all of its hate. And yet people still find a way to go, I think that we overreacted to Sonic the Hedgehog. And I'm like, I'm sitting here like, so this is like a flip-flop that I don't think anyone saw that one coming ever on the internet. Everyone played that game. I don't want to say everyone. A good portion of sane people played that game and was like, this game is bad. I feel bad for making my mom or myself waste the money on this game. Right?
Exactly.
Fighting Silver literally puts you in a loop if you let him hit you more than once. That it literally, you might as well just turn off the console and then turn it back on again. Right? You would fall through the floor just standing still. Like, that's an example of a game that is bad, just plain bad, right?
Yes.
Now, I'd like to use another Sonic game for like the example of a underrated game, right? Sonic and the Secret Rings, right? Is a game that some people like. Most people, from what I've experienced and talked to people about, think is like the best game that came out during that era. I don't agree with that, but I can respect why they're saying that. They were like, this game would have been arguably a top 5 of like the what year did that game come out? Like 2009, 2008,
2006.
Oh my god, 2006. From like the 2006 to let's say like 2010 era of like Sonic games.
Yeah.
They would say it was the best one if they had the option to play it without motion controls. And I can see where they're coming from with that. I get it, but that's not how the game was delivered. Yeah. So in that sense, you can say how like the game is sort of overrated.
It's one of those situations where because I feel like even though I think the game is bad, it has a lot of redeeming qualities. I think the story is probably one of the best, if not the best, in the series.
Arguably.
Has an amazing soundtrack. It's a Sonic game. It's really, it's the only time a Sonic game ever, it just doesn't ever have a good soundtrack. It's because it's not made by Sega. You know, it's made by like
the Sega in-house team.
Yeah, it's made by like
one of the bands that Sega trusts.
Yeah, it's usually like when BioWare made a Sonic game, Sonic Chronicles, or like we don't talk about it, or when we got Sonic Boom, which the music in that game wasn't good, but it wasn't horrible. The one in Sonic and Chronicles was that game actually just had bad music. I was just like, bro, how do you could have just yeeted songs from the rest of the series, but they decided not to.
Shout out to the devs, the Deviant Syndicate, for the tier 1 resubscribe. Thank you very much. It's much appreciated. Thank you for dropping by.
But man, I think Sonic is the best series to use because it's like gaming's the most volatile series.
It's like gaming's, I don't want to say craziest fan base, right? I don't want to say it's gaming's craziest fan base, but it's definitely the most volatile. Like, they're the most vocal fan base. Like, you don't see Mario fans go out of their way to go, I didn't really like this game. However,
like, it's one of those. Yeah.
Turn you up.
I'll say, I'll wait till you turn us up. Whatever. You turned up?
I turned you up. It sound better?
Alright.
Alright, thank
Alrighty.
you. Two, you're beautiful. Yo, my camera not even on. You can't start talking to me like that.
Nah. You guys act feeling some type of way, man.
My mic's still a bit low. Hold on. Let me hit that. It's a little better. It's a little better.
Bro, thank you, Dev.
Shaddy, you're beautiful too.
Don't have me acting up out here, dog.
Man, start posting selfies on the TL.
But on the real, since the audio seems to be fixed, what was I gonna say? Like, I don't know. I think the greatest example of an overrated game outside of Sonic, I feel, is crap. I feel is Super Mario 64. And
that is a take.
Don't get me wrong. Before I say this, I think contextually, within the time that it came out, at the time, was may have been greatest game or greatest games of all time. You know what I mean? But now in the modern day and age, especially after replaying it over the years and going back and playing it, it is nowhere near as good as any other Mario game that has come out since then, nor does it hold up as well as any other Mario game, but more importantly, I think as a platformer, it doesn't hold up as well as people say it does. I think there's some really cool stuff that you can do, and, you know, watching speedrunners, because I think it's probably the most respected speedrun out of any speedrun because it's the most optimized. You know, I respect, you know, people who love that game. I respect people who, you know, think it's a great game. But I cannot say with, you know, even 10% confidence that it is like top 10 or even top 20 games of all time. Because I believe that age has hit that game like a brick. And I will say this. I think it's a good game still. It's just, I don't think it is as good as people give it credit for. In the sense that I think, like, now we should probably move on and talk about the other Mario games or other platformers. Because I feel like they do a lot better job than, like, Super Mario 64 does.
Okay.
What about you, bro?
Those were some stupid hot takes. And since we're getting some of these stupid hot takes off, let me tell you how I feel about a lot of people's favorite Mario game, Super Mario Sunshine.
Oh no, I'm about to get hurt. Oh no.
Yo, everything you just said, it's exactly how I feel about Sunshine. I'm like, yo, Sunshine's such a fun game. I can't wait to replay it on the Nintendo Switch until they take it off the store because Nintendo is marketing geniuses, I guess. I guess taking off a game people have been begging for you to put on things since the Wii came out. What was the best business strategy? But that's besides the point. Super Mario Sunshine is a fun game. Don't get me wrong. But trying to play that game again, I'm like, oh yeah, this is fun. So I'm out of water and I've fallen 35 feet. I thought I had a little more. I think that's probably the prettiest game in that collection, by the way.
I think it's stood up the test of time the most.
I don't, like, there's no reason for that water to look better than water in games with budgets that are bigger. Even, like, comparing the dollar from then to the dollar now, there's no reason the Watch Dogs Legion water should look worse than Super Mario Sunshine's water system.
Bruh, Watch Dogs Legion got ray traced water, but Mario Sunshine manages to top even modern day games with multi-million-dollar budgets, up in the hundreds of $1 million, with ray traced water. They have the most advanced graphical effect placed on it, but Mario Sunshine's like
the most modern technology. And they were like, what if we layer the water filter on the water filter about 100 times? So what if we do that and we just move them over a centimeter every time, and it makes the most beautiful water to have ever existed. But that doesn't keep it from getting this criticism, though.
Oh no!
Yo, just because your water is beautiful doesn't mean your gameplay is solid. Look, man, the game is fun, but I don't feel like if Super Mario Sunshine got released today, I don't think it would have. I don't think it would have did so well. I think it would have did well because it's Mario. Let me clarify. I don't think people would respect it as well.
Yeah, you talking about critically?
Yeah.
See, like I think I don't know. I feel like most of the time you get overrated games when a game is extremely popular, especially at a specific time, and over time the sentiment around that game just really never changes, but you get a new group of people experiencing it. So like Super Mario 64, you really didn't have the first re-release of it is the DS re-release,
Yes.
right? They remade it.
It's the one with the best multiplayer of all time.
yes, it does. Oh my god, the multiplayer's got like, but it controls worse than the N64 version only because it's using a D-pad. It was on a D-pad, even though it looked better. It had a D-pad, so you're not using that N64 analysis. But let's skip over to the Wii. We get it on Virtual Console, whatever. People enjoy it. But nobody's really, I think really I didn't hear people start talking about and I think this is partially comes from like the way the internet works, because when Let's Plays and stuff are popping off, a lot of people were going back to old Nintendo games, so a lot of people's experience with like a lot of games sometimes are just Let's Plays. So we have this echo chamber of I've never really played the game, but I've watched someone else play the game who experienced it, and their experience is that, oh, I liked this game when it was younger, nostalgia clouds, and then you get the overrated game. I don't know. It's just it can be a combination of different things. You know what I mean?
Almighty nostalgia.
Like, cause like I remember like. I think the first time I played Mario 64 was when I was like 5 or 6, and I loved that game. Then I played it again when I was 10. And then I was like, uh-oh, what's wrong? It's the same game. And I'm like, something's not right here, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just not enjoying this game as much as I did. Then I got, I played it again in high school. I was just like, I'm not enjoying this game like I used to, and I'm enjoying it even less. And I played the game again a little bit when the source code got leaked and people just directly ported it to PC, and I was just like, ooh, let me play. And I was just like, I'm gonna play A Hat in Time. Like, that's what I did. I turned off Mario, played A Hat in Time, played some Celeste, went to sleep. So I mean, that's just one of my examples of what I believe will be an overrated game. I got more, but that's just the most immediate one in the most.
I'm going to shoot for the game that made me almost break this expensive microphone. Now, that's the franchise I'm about to shoot for. Mass Effect 2 is probably one of my favorite games of all time. It is definitely overrated though. Like this franchise, the franchise as a whole is good because of what it does. But the first game and the second game, I fear don't hold up all that well. Which is why I'm happy they're releasing like a remastered version. I think it's this year or next year. That way they can fix some of the issues that are blatantly there. Like the fact that there's an area in Mass Effect 2, right? Where you visit an area that's reminiscent of basically the starting area of the first game. It's basically supposed to be like, haha, remember this tragedy? And there's a boss in there, right? That you can kill before you even encounter the boss by shooting it from far enough away of the trigger point. That way it spawns in to that location, but the cutscene doesn't play. You can kill the whole boss and then just move on with the next mission. That's just a regular old glitch. There was a glitch that used to just break the game, where you would have one of your Paragon Renegade choices and you would hit the button as soon as it pops up, and immediately the game would crash.
Just immediately, like, there's nothing you could do.
Like it would go like, all right, so the Paragon Renegade things, they're like mini cutscenes, like in gameplay. It's in engine.
Mm-hmm.
Because of how fast the action happens, the character's supposed to get at least a line of dialogue off. But if you hit it before he gets halfway through that sentence, you would hit him, that you would resume gameplay, but you wouldn't be able to move and you would fail the mission.
That is nutty.
Yeah. It's just a series of glitches. Everyone who like, if you look up Mass Effect, like in GIFs, majority of what you see are like the actual glitches. Those aren't like fake GIFs that someone made in like I forgot what engine they use. Source engine.
Wait, say that again. Wait, used to do what again? I'm sorry, my brain.
Used to like SFM. It's
SFM,
not like
that's Source Filmmaker. Yeah, that's Source.
It's not like SFM where like they made it in there. No, like there is a cutscene where a character turns around and he's just supposed to put his head behind his shoulder as he's turning around, and his head rotates about 1,000 times. Right? There's dialogue lines that just don't make sense for your character in the first game. Because, like, in the very first game, the issue... Here we go. This is the issue. And I really like this game. If you want to be a renegade, which is basically the sort of like the dick, all of your options are space racism. All of your options. Yo, you ask a character a question, and this is the dialogue will say like, really? Why would you do that? And then the character says, you dirty Turian. Only a Turian would do something like that. And I'm like, yo, this doesn't even correlate with the option I was given. The dialogue does not match up to the option. And then you pick the good guy option, and you go, oh, well, that makes a total amount of sense. Thank you very much. Right? Like, there's just no... And then in Mass Effect 2, they fixed that a little because they added some in-betweens, right? Yeah. But boy, oh boy, was playing the first game again a swift reminder when I was playing, and you meet Garrus for the first time, and you get two options, and one of them is, why would you ask me for help? And the other is, okay, sure, I'll help you. And you go with, why would you ask me for help? And the first thing the guy says is, you dirty Turian, get away from me. I don't want to help you. And then the character who is super prideful in all of the games goes, can you please just help me though? And you still do the mission. Like, things like that just don't add up. And I can't wait for them to fix some of those options that just don't make sense. Because characters shouldn't go in the third game after you pick that first option. Yeah, Commander Shepard's a real nice guy. He's my friend. In the DLC where they reminisce on everything. In the game that collects all of your choices. And then gives them to you. And... it's oof. I like the Mass Effect franchise, but things like that make me understand why most people don't, or like most people wouldn't. It doesn't like, those games are overrated. I like them a lot. I give them like 8s, but there are people who are saying it was the best games of all time, and I just can't agree with that. Just can't.
I understand that sentiment, and I want to talk about one more overrated series, and then I'm gonna probably give it an underrated game or whatever. Before I guess we move on, unless you want to still stay on this topic,
No,
but
we could
uh,
move on.
but I want to say this, bro. I think the Fallout series, many people think I'm anti Bethesda. No, I just hate Fallout, and I don't think Skyrim was. I don't think Skyrim was good. I don't think it's bad.
That's the
I don't think it was good.
see. Look
But,
now. The thing is,
the reason I
nah,
say Skyrim.
nah. Let me just say
Good,
this.
good.
The thing is, most people will agree with you that the Fallout games aren't that good, except for like New Vegas and the first two, which were top-down RPGs. Because the ones that Bethesda made by themselves are sort of bad games. Because the ones that they made were 3, 4, and 70 fucking 6. Holy sh! That game, I can't believe that game servers are still active.
Yeah, it's because they went free to play, bro. And like they still continue to screw over the community half the time. I'll see something new about it, be like, oh, they put this microtransaction in here, and then they promised they would never do this, and then I'm like, oh god, that's just a mess. The reason why I'm not gonna say Skyrim is a bad game, but the reason I say Skyrim is I've never played a game where I'm not gonna say I've never played a game like with this issue. But I've never. I shouldn't have to mod a game for me to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, anytime I've tried to play Skyrim, I just get so insurmountably bored. And I also think it's I think it's unacceptable how buggy, glitchy, and because like that game will just you'll just glitch out of nowhere, and it's like Sonic 06 levels of glitchy. Like I'm even worse so.
Yo, this game's been ported to everything under the sun. Still has glitches. Every single port. It doesn't matter. They're just in the game. They sort of became a part of the game's like life cycle, to be honest.
It has surprised me that people like accept that, and like Fallout's the same way. The entire like Fallout's the same way. I just think I don't know. I got glad that Microsoft bought Bethesda because hopefully they'll have better QA because of it. Because I think they were
better game testers.
Because like the studios under Bethesda, like outside of Bethesda GameWorks, are god tier.
Like whoever makes the Wolfenstein games,
Machine Game, like Arcane. Like I cannot wait for Deathloop, bro. Deathloop, when they announced Deathloop, I was like, oh my god. And then I saw Arcane, and I was like, I need it.
That looks like a game that I can take a nice bite out of and not let go for a long time. Like Deathloop looks like a game built for speedrunners, but made for a casual audience. If you understand what I'm trying to say.
I know what you're saying. I want to say Celeste is in that camp, but Celeste is not in that camp. That game hard. That game hard. But I know what you mean. Like, they want you to beat the game as quickly as possible. You need to do these things in this order before, you get to this, because it's just, it looks so cool from what we've seen. The small amount we've seen, I was like, I think I want this. But let me see an underrated game before we go off. An underrated game. Bro, y'all play Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 Plus 2. There we go. That's it. Nobody talking about that game.
I'm super surprised. Like the remake, is it a remake or remaster?
Remakes. They're remakes.
I'm super surprised the remakes like haven't been getting as much hype as I thought it would. At least I thought those games would be blow up because everyone always talks it. I think the Tony Hawk games are a little overrated because everyone talks about how much they love them and how much they would love a new one, and then we got these, and the same people haven't touched them.
Like, I will say this, they sold well. They sold extremely well. It's just nobody talked about it after. I was just like, oh. I will say this, I think it's partially due to that game's online just
All the
not
online
being up with
don't
the
work.
times. It works, it's just not up with the times, dog. Like, you can't make a private lobby, or when you do, it goes public after a minute. You can play with your friends. You know, you can go into a party online. It's just like, you can't choose free skate and all that. It's just, there are things that, like, previous Tony Hawk games had that weren't an issue that are an issue in this game. And I'm like, bro, Tony Hawk Underground 2 on the PS2 didn't have, you know, it had better online. You know, this shouldn't be the state of online for this game, but
Yeah.
it's still it's a phenomenal game. I mean, I wish I don't know if they're making more content for it or making a new Tony Hawk game. Hopefully, I think Tony Hawk needs a new game.
From the way that I just looked it up now, from the way it's sold, if they didn't make a new one with the same engine that they made these remakes in, it would sort of be like throwing away money.
Yeah, it's just I'm like, the game sold well.
As long as we
It
don't get
reviewed
Tony
well.
Hawk Pro Skater 5.
Bro, whoa, hold on.
Oh, no,
Dude.
let me call
That
Pro
game
Sk-
exists? What? There's a Pro Skater 5? Dude, I didn't know that.
Look, man, I'm inside. You know, my uncle works for Activision.